Welcome to EDF5621, Challenging Curriculum Assessment and Pedagogy. This is just a short video to give you an overview of the unit. Make sure you read the unit guide though, which is available on Moodle. That's the first thing you need to do. Go and read the unit guide. It tells you the weekly schedule, the topics we do each week. It has the full instructions for the assessment tasks, as well as marking criteria for each assessment task. So you can see how you'll be assessed on those two assessment tasks. So this video is just going to give you a little overview of sort of key material and the approach of the unit. So it's important to note that this is a flexible unit, which means that it's designed as an online unit. You could do the entire unit from home without ever coming to campus. You will need internet connection though. So all the materials are designed so that you can view them and use them at home. So every week you'll have 2 required readings. You can access these on a digital reading list, which is available on the Moodle site. And you can just click on that link to the digital reading list and you'll be able to download the readings, save them to your computer for each week. You also have a set of PowerPoint slides each week, which is a bit like a lecture, a set of lecture slides, except they're designed for you to just view them at home. So they include text, images and videos. You can go through them at your own pace. It's recommended that you view these PowerPoint slides in slideshow mode. So when you open them up in PowerPoint, you'll see on your at the top of your in the taskbar, you'll see a slideshow as an option. Better to view them that way, because it means you can just click on all the links and then they open up, and when you click with your mouse it'll just scroll through the pages correctly. If you're not viewing it in slideshow mode, in order to open any links for videos and things like that are embedded in the slides, you have to right click with your mouse and a little menu will drop down and it'll say open link. But otherwise, yeah, if you're in slideshow mode you can just click on everything and it'll work as intended. So even though this is an online unit, every second week, starting in week 2, we run 2-hour face-to-face sessions, which are optional. And these are just because some students, we found, even with online units, some students just like to come in and have some face-to-face contact and have someone go over some of the online content in person and talk to other students about the material. We do not cover anything different to what's already in the online content. So if you can't come, you're not missing essential material. It's just a different way of it being presented and an opportunity for students to have some face-to-face discussion. These sessions are also recorded if you can't come. And so the recordings will be available on Moodle too about an hour or so after the session has completed, between half an hour to an hour and a half after the session has completed. Okay, I won't go through all the topics that we cover. You can just have a look at the unit schedule in the unit guide and it gives you an overview. But just briefly, we're covering topics that are looking at specific curriculums. So like the Australian National Curriculum, we look at some curriculum about moral education, religious education, including particular cases in Hong Kong and Quebec, as well as in Australia. We look at curriculums about sexuality, about relationships, which has become a big issue in Australia due to things like gender-based violence. So we look at curriculums that sort of deal with that issue. Some of these are quite controversial because they, conflict with people's different values and moral values and religious views. We also then look at a range of different pedagogies, which is approaches to teaching or teaching methods, that are quite popular at the moment and thought to be really, really ideal for teaching skills and knowledge people need in the 21st century. So these are things like flipped classrooms, work integrated learning, like, apprenticeships, that sort of thing. And even though they focus on pedagogies, curriculum, pedagogy and assessment is also always interconnected. So even if we're focusing more on a pedagogical approach, we'll be looking at the implications for curriculum, like the content you teach, as well as how you assess students. And then we have other things that are focused more on assessment, so how we assess students to see that they've learnt the curriculum content and that our pedagogy, which is our teaching method, to see that it's worked. We look at things like authentic assessment, which is another popular approach to education at the moment, and also things like some issues around assessment that have become big concerns, like student plagiarism and grade inflation, and also high-stakes testing like the NAPLAN tests in Australia. And these global league tables, which rank countries on their performance in different things like literacy and numeracy. So it's quite a wide range of topics that we cover, but they're explained in more detail in the unit guide. And they're looking at all sorts of different settings, so from schooling to higher education to workplace settings, because you all come from different backgrounds. Not all of you are school teachers or going to be teaching at university. And just briefly, very brief overview of the assessment tasks, because you need to read the unit guide to get full details for these. And also in Moodle, there's an assessment section which gives more detail and instructions on how to do the assessment tasks. But just so you know from the outset, the first assessment task involves 5 weekly Moodle posts. This starts in week 2. So you make posts each week to Moodle. There's questions that you have to answer. All the questions are already visible on the Moodle side. If you look from the week 2 to week 6 Moodle sections, you'll see those questions are up there. You can start working on them whenever you want. Do the readings and look at the PowerPoint slides first, though, for each week, because you have to use that content in your responses. They have to be posted by Friday each night, but you can they're all collated and submitted as one document in week 7 to be graded, and you can edit them and adjust them. The reason we just want them posted by Friday each night is because you've also got to write a post responding to another student. We're trying to generate discussion and engagement in the course in an ongoing basis. We did this assessment like this last year. It was very popular. It was when students were asked what was their best thing about the course, majority of them said assignment 1, so we're doing it again. Students liked having to do something every single week. Every single person submitted this assignment on time, except for one person out of 250 people last semester, because people were just doing it as they went, and the grades were pretty good too. It also means you'll get ongoing feedback. So not every single week, but at some point during those weeks, I'll give every student at least feedback on one set of their posts to help you improve them before you submit them. Okay, so again, there's more instructions and details on that and how you set them out and about when they have to be submitted each week and so on in the unit guide as well as on Moodle. And the second assessment is just a big 4,000 word report where you can pick a topic of any topic you like related to curriculum assessment and pedagogy, including any of the topics we do in the course. Most students picked ones from the course, but you can also analyse a curriculum in depth, and some students picked curriculum that was related to their work or future work or things that they knew they were going to do. So someone might analyse the Australian curriculum in depth. Someone might analyse a workplace training program from their job and examine that in depth. And that's due on the 15th of June, near the end of the semester. Okay, so that's all I'll say. And you can find more information about all of that on the Moodle site.